like I say, this little spot had quite a few fish on it. So we're gonna see what's down there. There's one decent fish. Throwing a little Strike King football head jig right now, 1/2 ounce, throwing on 15-pound Seaguar Tatsu. There's a good one. And we're actually down fishing in 35 to 50 feet of water, catching largemouth. Decent fish right here. What I like to do when I catch these big ones, I don't like to release them right away in the same school. And why? Because usually it shuts down the whole school. So I take some of these fish, I'll put them in the live well, and when I'm done catching them, I'll go ahead and release them, and they'll be fine. But again, we're throwing a Strike King 1/2 ounce tour grade football jig with a little Rage Craw trailer on there. It's a Falcon Lake craw. Perfect combination for catching some of these big largemouth. And again, these things are super deep. So we'll throw him in the live well real quick, throw back out there. All right. So again, we're out deep right now. Like I said, favorite time of the year. How I like to fish this bait is going to be really simple too. There's really no wrong way to fish a jig, in late fall and winter, as long as it's on the bottom. Okay, so a couple ways I'm going to throw. I'm either going to drag it, but since this has a little Rage Craw on there, little Rage trailer, I like to hop the bait. So make a really long cast, throw it out there, pick up the bottom, hop the bait along. This fish, anything that's down there is going to really see that and it's going to draw to them. They're always going to hit it on the fall. So that's going to be really kind of key. Like I said, you just got to keep the bait on the bottom. And a lot of these deep fish, the lineup is going to be key. So I came in, I kind of found them, what we're fishing right now. You got a main lake point over there, main lake point on both sides, on the left and right. And this is a ditch. So there's a ditch that runs through this little creek right here, and they're going to be stacked up right in this little ditch. But I want to let it hit down, hit the bottom, pop it up, and make those fish react to it on the fall. So you really, when you're dragging that jig really slow, they eat it like that too because they think it's a crawdad. But they have a lot of time to look at it. They can follow it. But when you're snapping it, popping it, like we are right now, it's just like getting a reaction bite, but these fish are in deep water. And usually when I'm fishing deep like this is the first bait I'm going to throw. Just because you're going to have a heavy rod. This is 7/6 Tattoo Elite rod by Daiwa, flipping stick, 15-pound Seaguar Tatsu. And it's something like a jig, the Strike King jig. It's going to be a single hook. So when you get a bite, usually you're going to land those fish. So that's going to be my first cast all the time. And then after I catch a few, I'm going to back it up, with something like a Strike King Ocho, a drop shot, maybe a little Strike King Rage Swimmer. But this is going to always be my first cast in the fall and the winter. Something I love is this new Catula 100 reel also. It's, for me, like I say, I'm an offshore guy. This is the reel. It's really light. It's compact. You can throw it all day. It's got a really cool matte black finish. And it has a lot of power behind it. It's not only going to be good for like that 8 to 10 pound test, but it's got a lot of power for throwing a big jig like this and flipping. Perfect reel. A lot of times what happens too, so I just caught that nice one. And when I idled over the school, there was a bunch. But you catch one and it'll break up the school. So I will constantly be looking at my graph and kind of looking around, seeing where those fish went. A lot of times they'll move, they'll kind of separate the school, scatter the school around. We've got to relocate them here, but it's usually they're not going far. do my last cast with the jig unless I get a bite, and I'll pick up something else. And you know, I tell this to guys all the time, that when you're fishing this time of the year, fish are going to be grouped up. They always are. They're getting ready for winter. You know, it's November. They're getting ready for winter. They're gonna get on shad or wherever the bait fish is. They're going to be grouped up, and they're hard to find when you're casting and reeling bait. So if you come out and you're just casting and you're trying to locate fish, it's going to be pretty hard to do. But if you spend a little bit of time, you know, in your electronics, you know, I use Garmin stuff. You idle around, then you can catch a lot more fish. It seems like once you find them, locate them, they're going to be easier to catch compared to just casting and fishing, because it's just there's such, you know, defined areas that they're going to be, that it's going to make it a lot harder to really find them. But once you locate them, usually they're pretty easy to catch. So this will be the last cast of the jig. There was one right there. You know, that's the thing too, when they're deep like this, they're going to bite it on the fall. And a lot of times, you're going to have that big bulky trailer. Oh, another one. You're going to have that big bulky trailer that they're going to grab onto that thing, and they're not going to eat the whole bait. There it goes, came back. Kept working almost all the way back to the boat. See how white these fish are. You know, again, largemouth in deep water. I think it's funny all the time people, you know, think of largemouth as being right on the bank, but they get out deep too. And this is a little reservoir where, you know, the bait fish is really deep. They get out there, and that's where you have to catch them. Not a big one, but sure is fun. Let's see. Now when I caught that fish, I brought a bunch of them up. You know, so a lot of times with fish just like that, they were glued to the bottom. You catch one, you get them all excited, and they come check it out. So then I'm gonna have a bait just like this. This is a little wacky rig, Strike King Ocho. I saw those fish come up off the bottom and investigate what's going on. So you just located them. You just kind of found them. You know, they were sitting there, really probably not wanting to bite, and they just showed themselves. So I like to have a bait like this right when you get on top of them, where you can drop down, catch a few. Key is for me is to always back up. I don't like to have the boat directly on top of them. I like to throw down there, let the bait hit the bottom, back up a little bit, and try to make them bite. And the key is with this, guys, so I all the time I hear guys go, man, you're fishing really deep. You're fishing 20 feet of water. Well, your boat is only 20 feet long, and these fish know that you're right above them. So that's why when I see a fish in the graph, video game fishing, I'm going to drop down there, I'm going to back off, and try to get those fish to bite, because they know that boat's there. And like I say, we're in 35 to 50 feet right now, but they can still sense that boat. So when you're not on top of them, you're going to have a better chance of getting bit. Let's make a couple more casts out. There's a bunch down there. This, for me, I'm like a kid in a candy store. You know, I know there's a bunch of them down there. See them on the graph. And this is why I love offshore fishing so much, because you can see the fish that you're going to catch most of the time. You locate. You know, when you're fishing shallow, of course you're never going to really see them. You're just going to fish the objects or the structure. And this is a little, again, a little Strike King Ocho, a wacky rig. Got a little weight on it.
Guys, if you have any questions for Cody, go ahead and I'll post them. We'll get them answered.
He's there. This is fun. This isn't a big one, but I know there's a lot of them down there. You guys, this is a rod I designed. This is, again, a Daiwa Tatula Elite rod. So now this is going to be a spinning rod, of course. This is just a, oh, look at the size of this. Big old bluegill is what it is.
Wow.
Look at this bluegill. I'll tell you about the rod in just a second. Let me get this monster bluegill off the line. Oh, jeez. Calm down. So look at the size of this bluegill. God, this thing is literally huge. I mean, fits in my hand. Look at the color on the thing. Absolutely beautiful. No bass is eating that guy, unfortunately. But what about this rod that is really, really awesome is it's 7 foot 4 inches. It's got a pretty fast action tip, okay? So it's going to be more of like an extra fast tip, but it's really parabolic through the rod. And what that's going to do, again, I'm a light line guy. When you cast out there, it's going to let you work the bait effectively. And then when you get that bite, there's going to be a lot of backbone with that parabolic action of the rod that you're going to hook and land a lot more of these fish. And because of the action of the rod, you're not going to break off and lose a lot of these big fish on that light line. You know, catching these big giant spotted bass in Northern California, catching these, you know, the big smallmouth, big largemouth. You have to have the rod and a reel that is going to, you know, do all those things for you. And these new Tattoo Elite rods, unbelievably sensitive. They have the AGS guides on a lot of the models, but the actions are absolutely perfect. There's a bunch of them down there. So what we're doing, like I say, we're fishing this ditch. If you're just joining us, there's this little depression, there's this ditch. There's a bunch of fish in it. Caught a few now. He's kind of broke up the school, so you're seeing just bits and pieces of them swimming around. But obviously there's bluegill down there. There's largemouth. There's spotted bass. They're all kind of mixed in, and they're really getting ready for winter. I mean, I could tell these fish are getting thick. They're getting ready to get on that winter bite. And
So Cody, we had a viewer want to know what swim bait would you throw in light of that last catch that you just made, the giant bluegill?
yeah, so you know, a couple things you could throw. I mean, since we're so deep right now, it'd be hard to throw a big bluegill imitation swim bait. You know, like if we're fishing up shallow, you might throw a big, you know, glide bait or something like that. But since we're fishing out deep, you're going to throw something like a Strike King Rage Swimmer. And why? Because you got to get, these fish are on the bottom. You got to get that bait down on the bottom. And that's really the only bait that you could throw. There's a bunch down there that you could throw that you can keep it in the strike zone. You know, something like a 4-inch Strike King Rage Swimmer is going to be perfect. I'll throw that bait in a second. It doesn't match that big bluegill exactly. Now, like I said, those fish aren't going to be eating those big bluegill, you know, that size, but you really, if you're going to throw that bait as well, a big swim bait, you just couldn't keep it in the strike zone. So long story short, guys, Strike King Rage Swimmer is probably perfect. I'll make a cast with it, have it tied up. I call this a tournament swim bait. So this is a little 4-inch swim bait. You know, it's a little owner ball head, 1/4 of an ounce. I throw this on like a 10-pound test. Strike King or Seaguar Tatsu. But the deal is with this is a bait where, why I call it a tournament swim bait is because you're going to get bit in tournaments using baits like this, where you throw those big old Huddlestons and those huge Ospreys and glide baits that I own about 400 of because I'm in California, but you just don't get bit in tournaments on that stuff. And for me, you know, especially in Major League Fishing, I have to get bit all day. And this is a bait that's going to do it. And you're going to catch big ones too. It's not like these baits don't catch big ones. But the key is right now is getting that bait in the strike zone. That's why I'm electing to throw this. Oh, there was a little one on there. Probably another big bluegill. It'll hit the bottom again. got to creep it to keep it in that strike zone. But one thing too, you can see, so the shallow water's behind us. I shouldn't even share this tip, but a lot of times in the winter, when you come out here, these fish like the bait to be brought uphill. So you want to be shallow and cast deep. Sounds crazy. I've seen it so many times where I've caught big ones with doing that. You know, where most people that come in bit the tail off. That's why. Bit the tail off. Sometimes people come in, I'll rig another one up in a second here. They come in and they fish, you know, they're sitting in deep water, throwing up the shallow and bringing it off. I feel like fall and winter, when the fish are really schooled up like this, when you're bringing it uphill, they really bite it a little bit better. And I don't know why that is, if they feel like a sense of urgency to eat the bait or not, but it's just something that's worked for me. Definitely try it at home. Catch a few more fish. This is a small one. I'm wondering if this is another bluegill or what. Obviously, like I say, this spot's got a lot of fish. Yep, another big bluegill. Another big old bluegill. So I don't eat bluegill, but if you did, I'll give you the waypoint. Big old bluegill. The reason I knew that one was a bluegill is the bait was falling and came up and bit it. And I've been seeing a lot of fish suspended up off the bottom, you know, that aren't thick marks, not like these bass are. So you kind of know it's a bluegill, but hey, it's still fun. Catch another bass here in a second. Typically too, from my experience, when you find them deep, like we just have, in a tournament, okay, these are going to be fish that are going to weigh a little bit more. So they're going to be on bait, on something that's going to really fatten them up. They're going to weigh a little bit more. Sounds bizarre, but usually, you know, a 1/4 pound to ½ pound more per fish. So if you find this stuff, you're always better off in a tournament.
Just had a viewer ask, what lake are we fishing on, Cody?
We're fishing on a lake called Lake of the Pines. Small little reservoir lake. One of my favorites for sure. There's a bite. Little one. You know, but it just shows, you know, this rod, it's another bluegill probably. We're on the mega bluegill hole, guys. This is something new for me, I'm not gonna lie. So I don't typically catch bluegill, but when I do, they're big ones. I don't usually catch them. I don't know. It's weird. I fish this lake quite a bit. This is a spot where I don't really ever fish. I just kind of happen to come across it and see all the fish down there. But you know, they're right there with those fish, and this is a good sign. Like when you see those big bluegill down there are going to be big bass. I guarantee you, with these bluegill. But what I was saying before that fish bit is,
What are you fishing?
throwing a little Nico rig, you know, little weighted Strike King Ocho right now. Deep, you know, like I say, we're fishing 35 to 50 feet, but you could feel these fish bite with that much line out, that deep, with this rod. You know, again, I would catch it with these rods. But also what's really cool is this setup here. That's going to be key. I like a Strike King. This is a Smackdown braid. You know, it's a 20-pound test. It's a new flash green color. Just came out this year at ICAST. Throwing a 8-pound Seaguar Tatsu. And I remember growing up, you know, doing this, throwing straight fluorocarbon. There's a bass. Throwing straight fluorocarbon, and you would lose about half of these fish. Not even, excuse me, not straight fluorocarbon, monofilament, because you just have so much stretch that you would never get them in. Now with this braid and fluoro, you get the right hook set, fight them really good, and catch a lot more. And two, you guys, this reel, this is a new Tatula LT spinning reel by Daiwa. Really lightweight, light and tough is what it stands for. But it's got a lot of power behind it. You know, when you go and you cast, it's got a lot of speed behind it. You know, it's like almost a 6-to-1 gear ratio. There's some fish there. And so when you cast out there and you get a bite like we just did, a long ways away from the boat, you're gonna be able to catch up to them really quick. Catch a lot more fish. You know, years ago we used to have these spinning reels that we called them pig beaters, you know, because you just wind and never catch up to a fish. But that was something, you know, myself, Set Fighter, Brent Ayler, big Daiwa for. Please make a spinning reel with a high gear ratio.
Why not use a spoon in this situation?
You know, a spoon, it's another great bait. It's a bait that I have tied on. Strike King Sexy Spoon, I'll throw that in a minute for sure. But that's going to be a bait that I'm going to definitely make a cast with. And it's a perfect bait for this area. Why? Because the fish are going to be kind of schooled up, they're going to be swimming around, but you can cover a lot of water as well. So once these fish scatter like they are, you're going to be able to throw that spoon out there and probably refine the school. Make one more cast with a Socho. Pick that up. But how you're going to fish it in a spoon, I'll show you in a second, but it's going to be easy. You're just going to throw it out, let it hit the bottom. Big flutter spoon, you're going to rip it up, let it fall on slack line, semi-slack line, and the fish are always going to bite it on the fall. So that's going to be the key. You want to follow the rod tip down and wait for those things to bite it. You know, I keep getting tempted because I throw out there, throwing out deep, and I see one under the boat. And there's one sitting under us right now. There's another bass. Feels like a pretty good one, guys. I wish you guys could all join me right now. This is a good one for sure, but this is why I designed this rod. You know, this is what I love to do. I love to light line, finesse fish in deep water. And look at this. This is 8-pound Seaguar Tatsu, Daiwa Tatula LT spinning reel, phenomenal drag, and light line. I mean, it doesn't really get much better than this. You know, it's not fun in a tournament because if you didn't take your high blood pressure medicine, you're going to freak out. But when you can't get a bite on anything else, this is how you're going to get bit. And again, when you have a big one on like this, there's really nothing you can do other than just fight the fish. Just go with the fish, fight it, let it do its thing, don't rush it. And all these decisions of the perfect rod, parabolic rod, went into this when I designed this. It's funny too, I'm looking down at the Garmin right now, and I wish I could show you a screenshot of this. There is literally probably 30 fish that came up that are curious looking at this. Big old girl don't want to give it up, man. That's a good one. That's what we're after. Big old healthy largemouth. Look at that there, guys. Look how thick that fish is. Little light line. Strike King Ocho. Beautiful. And you know what? There's a bunch more down there. I'm going to throw this one in the live well, and then I'm going to cast right back in there, and we're going to do this all over again. So there is a wad down there. Usually I'm going to retie right now. It's really stupid that I'm not, but you know what? There's too many of them down there not to. I just have to drop back down there. But if I was in a tournament, 100% of the time I'm gonna retie right now. because that fish ate that bait pretty deep. And the line's definitely not going to be as strong as it just was. There's another one there. Like I say, we definitely got them going. This bluegill kind of got pushed out. The big ones came in. It's another nice one for sure. Look at this thing going crazy. That is the LT doing its thing right there. Just came up and now it's angry again. Like I say, one thing I see guys all the time do is rush it with light line. You know, they get pretty excited. They rush it. You don't want to rush it. You just want to take the time, trust the process, catch these big ones, you know. This is unbelievable. This thing ate it pretty deep. Get this hook back. Get off the old CUDA pliers. Got it out there. And like I say, another nice one right there. Beautiful largemouth. You can tell they're losing some of their color just because they are deep. You know, when they're deep, they don't see as much sun. They lose some of their color. But this is the stuff you look for in a tournament for sure. This is the stuff where when you find a little honey hole like this, you're gonna win some money. This is one of those places I wish it was next year in MLF right now, because I'd be lighting that score tracker up.
Talk about your knot a little bit.
Yeah, so what I do is I believe it or not, I tie a Palomar knot. A lot of people do not like that Palomar knot, but I tie a Palomar, never have problems with it. As long as you wet the knot, you're going to have good success with it. It's really important on a drop shot rod as well. It seems like when you tie it and then you run the tagged end back through the eye of the hook, it's going to really hide that knot, and you're going to have a lot of success with it. I mean, the thing that you have to do with fluorocarbon, of course I'm using a braided line to a fluorocarbon leader, you're just going to have to make sure you get it wet when you snug it down, cinch it down. If you don't, that fluorocarbon, I don't care what knot you're going to use, you're going to burn that knot and it's going to break. So now what we did, the school is behind us. And I'm still throwing that ocho. I'll pick up that big spoon and that jig in a minute, but we drifted off the school, but I'm just gonna sit like this. I typically like to fish the bait uphill. We're still gonna get bit downhill, I would imagine, but I'm just gonna kind of visualize where that school's at, cast back to them without trying to get the boat on top of them. Of course, we were just on top of them and it caught that last nice fish. But general rule of thumb, if you're not on top of them, you're going to get more bites. And always remember this, okay? Again, I shouldn't even share these secrets, but for you guys, I'm gonna let it all out there. But really simple tip: always look at your graph, just like that last fish. You know, I saw that fish on the graph. A lot of guys would be really excited. They'd stand up, they'd fire out there, and you would never catch that fish. So always look at your graph, pay attention to detail. You're gonna pick up a couple extra fish throughout the course of a day when they're deep like this, video game fishing. And like I say, I personally like to throw it out there, drift off, and you catch them. All right, so we broke the school up. Let's reel this ocho in. What do you guys want to see?
We're using a hydro wave right now.
Yeah, so the hydro wave is a big deal too. Really, when you're video game fishing, throw a couple casts with a big spoon. When you're video game fishing, the hydro wave is always cranked up. I like offshore finesse. And why I like it is if they're glued to the bottom, like they are right now, you know, the water's cold, they're glued to the bottom, they're gonna really be hard to find. But when you have the hydro wave on and turned up, they're going to come up from the bottom, they're going to show themselves, and then you can drop down and you can catch some of those fish. So that's a key when you're offshore fishing. There's no wrong place to turn it on. It's just a fish catcher. You're going to mask a lot of the boat noise, movement as well, but you're going to draw them up from deep water. So when I'm throwing this spoon, you can see I'm yanking on it pretty hard. And I'm going to let it fall on slack line. That's going to be kind of the key. Let me come up here real quick and just get you guys out of the sun. But we're going to let it fall on slack line, and they're always going to eat it on the fall. Come over here. So you're just going to yank it up, kind of follow it down on slack, and you're going to feel them blast it. And a lot of times with this big spoon, this is a big Strike King 60 spoon, they are going to miss the spoon. You know, it's a lot of metal floating down. They're going to miss it. And so you're going to yank up, set the hook on them, miss some, just drop it right back down. 90% of the time, they hit it again, which is really, really cool. I'm gonna go in real quick, guys, and I'm going to do a big loop and turn around. That way you can kind of see me. I know we're in the sun right now. It's just hard to, when the wind's kind of blowing us out. So I'm going to turn around. We're going to do that all again. There's a couple bluegill. I just found a couple. Pitch out that ocho. You know, you can tell the bluegill over the bass. You know, bluegill, you know, they're going to be on this 2D sonar with Garmin. They're going to be more yellow, not as dense. Where bass are going to be a lot thicker, a lot more orange, darker colors, a little bit more defined, especially when they're big bass. Let a bunch of line out. Kind of dropped it on the spot. We'll go up in here. Kind of see what we're fishing in the background. Like I say, this is a little creek channel. And we're just off the main lake. This is a perfect spot in the fall, in the winter, and this is where all these fish that were back in this pocket, you know, throughout the summer, they migrated to. So they went from being up here under these docks. There's some hydrilla in the back here, you know, in that 6, 7, 8 foot range. They've all moved out deep to this little gut here, and this is just a little trough that is holding them, you know. So when you're fishing deep, don't throw yourself in the water for one, but when you're fishing deep, it's those subtle little offshore structures that are going to hold more fish, you know. So this is just a little gut, you can imagine. It's a little small depression, and something so simple as that is going to hold a lot of these big ones down there. There we go. See, we just backed up, threw back. Another bass, I promise you, it's not a bluegill. It's unbelievable, guys. The sensitivity of this rod, you know, this whole reel, unbelievable. I mean, it's really unbelievable. And the line too, you know, Seagar, Tatsu, best stuff on the planet. You know, it's just a really, really, really good fluorocarbon. People say, man, I don't want to spend that kind of money on a fluorocarbon, but when you're using like a Seagar Smackdown grade, you're only using maybe 10 feet a liter. So you're going to save a lot of money and you're going to get more bites. And I promise you, you're going to get more bites with a high dollar fluorocarbon than something else. Another nice fish. Nice largemouth there. We'll throw something else down there, guys. We'll throw a little Strike King Rage swimmer. Kind of itching to catch one on that. This is the smaller one. This is the 2.75.
Somebody wanted to know where you were located at right now.
We are located on Lake X. Now we're in Northern California, a little small lake called Lake of the Pines. Fishing deep, fishing 35 to 50 feet of water, finesse fishing. Okay, so here's a little straight king rage swimmer. Small one. Okay, this is a little 275, but it's really small, compact. Look at that 10-pound test. You can cast it country mile out there. I'm really, again, going to keep this bait on the bottom and the strike set, so it's going to sink a long time. And I have one waypoint. This is, again, a spot I don't normally fish. We were coming in the back of this pocket here to flip some of this grass. Happened to look down and see this massive school hanging out. So we turned around. So I don't have it really waypointed like I should. You know, if I was in a tournament, I would be driving back and forth, finding every pebble, every grain of sand down there, and I'd be waypointing it with the Garmin. That way, when I come back in, I can really line it up. So right now, I keep looking back because there's a little drainage, and I'm trying to line up where the waypoint is and where the drainage is from the last time you got bit. Little details like that usually can help you catch a bunch. Oh man, bluegill guys. You can feel the way it hit it. You know, it's interesting, this lake, some of these Northern California lakes, the bait fish, really bizarre. Okay, so this lake, there's no shad. No shad at all. No gizzard, threadfin, any kind of shad, there's none. All there is giant crawdads, big bluegill. Okay, so matching the hatch is going to be key, but you know, this is a little shad imitation bait, but I always say too, bass, they're not too picky at times. I mean, once you find them, they're gonna bite a lot of stuff. And because this doesn't resemble shad, doesn't mean we're not gonna get bit, because it looks like a little baby bluegill, baby bass, something like that. But finding them is always gonna be more important than actually getting the bait exactly right. I wish we could show you the graph. I wish you could see it, you know, when we go through the area. There is just wads of them. But as we catch them, they'll definitely start breaking up a little bit. Oh, but what I was saying is Northern California, a lot of the lakes don't have certain bait fish. You know, like Lake Oroville, a lake I grew up fishing, it is full of pond smelt, stuff like that. No shad. Here, there's no shad. Bullard Bar, there's no shad, bait fish, anything other than kokanee. So really diverse fishing out here. Okay, I'm picking up the Ocho one more time. I don't know how much more time we got, but any more questions, Ricky?
We're good.
Who wants to come fishing with me? I don't see anyone raise their hand. I have to do some kind of a giveaway. Hey, Ricky's raising his hand. One more cast with this thing. You want to wrap it up, Ricky? What do you want to do, buddy?
Yeah, we'll wrap it up and get back on here later on this afternoon.
All right, so one more cast. Stay with me. Throwing it into the depths. Hope you guys enjoyed today. Hopefully you're having a great Wednesday. Happy hump day. If you're not fishing this weekend, you better be.
Download the app.
Download the app. Bass 365 Live. No brainer. How can you not? I downloaded the app years ago just to watch all the cool guys on there. All the cool guys. There we go. Lost it. Lost it. I'm going to drop right back down. We're going to get bit again. Why? Because he's going to come back and bite. We can't end on a missed fish. Jack, I won't do that. Oh, we missed him again. Might be a big bluegill. I'm gonna catch it. One thing to leave you with. So the reason I use this flash green braid from Seagar. So a lot of times I'm gonna watch the bait sink. and a lot of times these big fish are going to eat it on the fall. So that high vis braid, you're going to see them jump the line, and this helps as a strike indicator. You know, it's almost like you're fly fishing. So you're going to use that line, you're going to cast it out, you're going to let it sink. I got to catch one more for you guys. Can't leave you on a missed fish. But this was definitely a cool surprise today. You know, again, this is a spot I don't fish generally. I'm just kind of cruising around, came in here, looking at the graph. Always have your fish finders on. I prefer the Garmin stuff, but because I was paying attention, came in here, saw them, caught them, had fun. Did I do one more cast, or is that it? Okay, because we missed 2 fish on that cast, I'm gonna give you one more. I have a buddy, JR Wright, who says you can never leave on a missed fish. So here you go. That's it for the day. We're going to have lunch. We are going to have lunch. These fish already ate their lunch. Plus, hey, we're going to have like a new segment here on Bluegill Fishing 101. I don't know how you really catch bluegill other than a striking ocho, but maybe we can get like a little crappie jig or something, drag it down there, catch some big ones. We got some giant bluegill in here. It's just something I don't care to fish for. But whatever bites, I'm gonna snatch it. Last cast. Come on, come on. Let's do this. There you go. Yeah, baby. Another nice one. Look at this big old head shake. Again, can't stress enough how important it is to have the right rod, reel, line combination. You know, if you guys are into throwing a shaky head, wacky rig, tube, anything, this is the rod. I'm not trying to. This is not trying to be an infomercial here. This is literally the best rod in the world, in my opinion, for deep water, light line finesse fishing. I promise you, you can pick this thing up. You could throw it out there. You're going to catch a lot more fish. It just has the perfect actions for doing this stuff. And when you look at this Daiwa Tattoo Elite rod, it's a 7.4 versatile. And the reason it's a versatile is because it does everything. I mean, I own 2 spinning rods, the versatile and my drop shot rod, and that's it. 2 spinning rods. So when I'm throwing everything other than a drop shot, it's going to be on this one spinning rod. And that for me is awesome. You know, we have enough worries when we're on the road, when we're fishing, about rod and reels, and I just like picking this bait up, throwing one rod. Look at this guy. Another nice one. I can throw everything on this rod, and I know it's perfect to catch some of these big ones. Guys, I'm really stoked you followed along today. Hopefully this gets you through the hump day. Make sure you download the app. Unbelievable stuff. For once, you can have one app where everyone's talking and sharing tips. I shouldn't have shared some of my stuff today, but we did, and hopefully you guys learned something. Look at this big old girl. Big old girl, come here. That is it. That is it, you guys. Again, Cody Meyer here. We're going to sign off with this big one. Thank you for following. Check out this great stuff. Please support the sponsors in this industry, because without them, we wouldn't have them. Download the app. You're going to love it. Guarantee it. You guys have a great day.